Welcome. In front of me I have the SAMSUNG Galaxy S25 FE, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device and also its specifications. Okay, so let's get straight into this. We do have pull tabs, which, okay, this one came off easily, this one did too, in one piece. Congrats Samsung, you finally figured it out. Anyway, inside here we get our phone. A little bit bigger than I actually expected. That's what she said. And we also get paperwork, yay, our greatest, and cable, type A to, type C to type C. So there we go, that's basically everything that we get in the box. Let's just eat that to the side. And booting it up. Come on, boot up, please. There we go. So in a second we'll see the display. And the display right here is a 6.7-inch display running a resolution of 1080 by 2340 pixels, dynamic LTPO AMOLED display, 120Hz refresh rate, HDR10 Plus, and a peak brightness of 1900 nits, which is a bit lower than the actual S25 counterpart of it. Now, we also have 89.2% screen to body ratio and a pixel density of 385 pixels per inch, covered with a corner Gorilla Glass Victus Plus Mosh Level 5. Now, I do want to point out the bezels here are pretty damn good. The bottom one is a little bit chunkier than the rest of it, which is a bit odd of a decision, but all in all, they actually are pretty good looking in terms of like screen to body ratio. Now, I do want to point out that the S25, which I do actually own, let me just turn on a light mode on it, so it looks a little bit better. So we are opening up settings. You can see that the bezels right here are smaller, and I also want to point out that what you can see as bezels right here aren't the actual bezels of the phone. This is the matte screen protector that comes with this crappy little ring, like black borders around everything, like the camera and the parameters of the screen protector, which is actually smaller than the de facto screen on the phone. So it is covering a little bit of the actual screen real estate. But all in all, it's very comparable, as you can see. It's not that much different. So, and this already had like superb screen to body ratio. So this is actually really nice. Now, if we flip it over to the back, we have our triple camera setup with this similar design to the S25, though the S25 also has this weird like ring on top of it right here. You can kind of, okay, so it has like these weird kind of design to it. It's not just a ring, it has like grooves in it all around, so here we don't have that. From the side you can also see a little bit of a difference. So this just seems like a kind of like a ring that has a glass slotted into it, while this is more like a kind of like a cover like this with a hole in the middle here somewhere that slots in the glass that protects, obviously, or the lens itself. Now, so it does have a little bit of a difference in terms of the aesthetics of the actual S25, but it's just a subtle little difference. Now, the lenses here themselves, the main one is a 50 megapixel 1.8 aperture 24mm wide lens, 8 megapixel 2.4 aperture 75mm telephoto, and 12 megapixel 2.2 aperture 13mm 122 degree ultra wide. And with those cameras you can do 8K at 30, 4K up to 60, and 120 with slow motion, and 1080p gets you all the way up to 240 slow motion. Now if we flip it over to the front, we have our selfie in this hole punch, and that houses a 12 megapixel 2.2 26mm wide lens that does 4K 60 as well, and 1080p 60 obviously. So camera wise, pretty good. let's just hope that Samsung finally fixed the software for the cameras, as the S25 had absolutely abominable software at release, which just honestly made these phones, at least the S25, be very bad. And this is a comparison. When I was taking photos with someone that was using the iPhone 13, I think it was. Their phone, iPhone 13, was taking better videos and photos than my brand new flagship device, iPhone 13. We're now at iPhone 17. And for some reason, my brand spanking new phone couldn't even compete with a 4-year-old device. Great. So, anyway, hopefully they sorted that out, because if they didn't, if you're looking for a good phone with the cameras, if they haven't sorted it out, obviously this won't be it. But if they did, it hopefully actually competes now with an iPhone 13. Now, let's go into the internals. Now, we have a, oh boy, pathetic 4,900 mAh battery for a phone that's supposed to house, nowadays, something like 6,000 milliamps. But you know, Samsung is still basically cutting costs everywhere they can, so they can just fleece you out of your money with the excuse that, oh, our system OS is very good. Ooh, that's why we offer you dog shit in terms of hardware, which is actually what matters, because the OS has been the same for some time with minuscule improvements. But we still get to pay premium on top of that. Ooh, awesome. And it still spies on you. So, yeah, graphene is still just a significantly better option, just not for these devices. So, with that being said, the battery here is absolutely embarrassing. Charging speed at 45 watts for Samsung, that's the best they can offer. Which, again, in grand scheme of things, when you compare it to other devices, it's just, it's a joke. Devices can charge at 140 watts, and this is doing 45. Ooh, great. You're doing a third of what other manufacturers actually are pumping out. And in terms of wireless charging speed, we're looking at 15 again for Samsung. That's good. For other devices, they do 50. So, again, like I said, Samsung is just fleecing you out of your money just because it's Samsung. There is not really much in terms of hardware that is justifiable right here. Now, actually, before I start like completely crapping on this device and ripping into it, I should also mention that this device comes at a basically about $700 plus price tag dollars. So it's not the cheapest device. Now, let's continue ripping into it. In terms of the processor, we get the Exynos 2400, which is, again, Exynos, not my favorite. I am in Europe, so I don't know if this device doesn't have a Snapdragon counterpart, but considering GSM Arena, which is where I'm getting all the information from, because it's just nicely presented, isn't mentioning anything about the Snapdragon counterpart existing, so I can only expect that there isn't one. Now, if we look at the specifications of this device, or I mean of this processor, not really what I'm looking for. I'm trying to find benchmarks for it that would be decent. I'm trying to look how it compares to something like the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, not even the 8 Elite, because it is an Exynos. So yeah, I don't want to expect too much from it. And we're looking at, we're actually, for God's sakes, why isn't there any kind of info about this processor? Oh, there we go. Oh, great. So it's, by the looks of it, slower than Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, not even Gen 3. Okay, great, just fantastic. Okay, cool. So the info is based from versus.com, and yeah, it seems to be just slower than 8 Gen 2. which is a bit of an L. Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is about what, like 3, almost 4 years old now, I think, right? Let's quickly check that. Release date. Oops, maybe I should paste the. Yeah, it's like 3 years old now. Awesome. Okay, so this phone doesn't compare to a 3-year-old processor. A flagship one, mind it, but still, 3 years old is 3 years old. So that's a bit of an L right there for a phone. Now, outside of the processor, it comes with a measly 8 gigabytes of RAM and if I can find it, 128 gigabytes of storage. That is the lowest model you can get, but you actually have the option to spec it up to half a terabyte, which also contains 8 gigabytes of RAM. But unfortunately, there is no expandable storage, because why would you get that? Samsung doesn't think you need that. What you need is to pay 2 times the amount for the actual storage value to just get, you know, a little bit more reasonable storage space, like 256. So all in all, for $700, honestly, I consider this to be a bit of a massive L in my book, as Samsung S25 didn't sell too well. Let's not kid ourselves. Samsung's expectations of these devices did not go as planned. This phone itself, I purchased it for $700. This is a half a terabyte version, by the way, and it's the S25, so it's the lowest end. It does have downsides, as for instance the battery is also smaller than what we have right here. Charging speed is even more garbage than what we have right here. But in general, it is a faster and more premium phone, as it is the actual S25, not the PE edition. So with that in mind, I can buy that device now, the S25, for about $600 on like second-hand market, which these devices are pretty brand new, so it's not like there's much time for people to break them. So it is a pretty decent pick if you're looking for such a thing. And on top of that, you can also get the S25 Plus at, I would say, probably the same price, which again, the S25 Plus will be an improvement over what we have right here, specifically in the processor department, coming with 8 Elite instead of the Exynos 2400. So yeah, you might want to look into the actual S25 lineup instead of the PE. PE right now will be also more expensive than the S25, as, like I said, S25 at release was overpriced and it didn't sell as well, so nowadays it's being sold at a discounted rate, while this one again is brand new right now, which any kind of retailer will be charging you basically the default MSRP. The moment it stops or proceeds to not sell as well, you will start seeing discounts on this device. So in the future, if you're looking this, chances are what I just said might not be true. This might be much cheaper than, for instance, the S25 that I mentioned, but at the time of releasing this or shortly after, the prices, honestly, I think the S25 will be a better pick, just because it's going to be cheaper and faster. In my case, come with way more storage than what we have right here. So that might be just a better pick in your case as well. Maybe the S25 Plus, assuming you can get it at about the same price. But like I said, you would need to look at things like used market, and sometimes, like, I mean, with these devices specifically, used market isn't necessarily that used, because these devices are like what, half a year old at the moment, so they're not super old. And obviously they're still on warranty, which is pretty good and I would say important. So like I said, could be a better option if you want something that is more powerful, or you could just wait for this device to lower down in price, which it undeniably will drop in price because it's Samsung, and Samsung has been dropping turds for well, some time already. So they're not selling as well in either markets right now, they've been really trying to push that planned obsolescence to the point that it's literally biting them in the ass right now. So just wait for this one. If you want to pick this specifically, it will drop in price most certainly, and you can then get a better value on it, or pick up the S25 normal one. Alternatively, you can also look at other devices, other brands, which will offer also fantastic devices for the price, better than this, just most likely cheaper price, but it won't be Samsung if you're really looking for that. Maybe you do have the ecosystem with the smart things, obviously, then you most likely want the Samsung specifically for that. But if you're not like set on the One UI for some reason, then you could look into other departments. Xiaomi, for instance, makes pretty bang devices, like they're pretty good value for the money, offering really good specs for a really good price. So that would be a one location where you can look. But in any case, with that being said, this basically sums it up. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.